You've probably noticed it, right? Sustainability seems to be everywhere. It's gone from this little buzzword to like the main event for pretty much every brand out there. And you know what? It's not just a passing trend. Today, we're going to dive into the 6 big forces that are completely changing the rules of the game for business. So let's get right into it.
I mean, it's a totally fair question to ask. You see it on your coffee cups, on the tag of your t-shirt, even on the box for your new phone. It feels like, boom, overnight, every single company decided to go green. But what's the real story here? Is this all just some clever marketing, or is there something much, much bigger happening behind those eco-friendly labels?
Okay, so at the very heart of all this is a complete rewiring of how we even think about, well, stuff. For like a century, the playbook was simple. We take resources, we make something, and then we just waste it, throw it away. But the new model? It's circular. It's all about designing products from the get-go, not for the dump, but for their next life. And let me tell you, this isn't some small tweak. We're talking about a whole new economic philosophy.
All right, first up, the new rules of play. And here's the thing you need to get right away. This shift isn't really voluntary for a lot of companies. It's being pushed by some seriously powerful global systems that are changing the entire game.
So its first new rule is something called the circular economy. And honestly, it's a pretty simple idea, but with massive implications. The goal is to design waste out of the system right from the beginning. Think about it like this. In nature, there's no such thing as a landfill, right? Everything, every fallen leaf, every dead tree, it all becomes a resource for something else. And that's exactly the goal here, to keep all those valuable materials in play instead of just burying them in the ground.
And hey, this is not just some academic theory. I mean, look at these major players. Patagonia is literally making jackets out of recycled plastic bottles. IKEA will actually buy back your old furniture to give it a second life. Unilever is totally redesigning its packaging. What they're all showing us is the same critical point. This circular model isn't just some feel-good environmental win, it is a seriously powerful business strategy.
Okay, but what happens when companies don't jump on board just because it's a good idea? Well, that's where our second big force comes into play, government regulation. Because more and more, going green isn't just a choice, it's becoming the law.
Governments around the world are now using both carrots and sticks to make this happen. You've got these huge policies like the European Union's Green Deal that set massive, ambitious targets. Then you have things like carbon taxes, which put a real dollar amount on pollution. And on top of that, new disclosure laws mean companies have nowhere to hide. They're basically being forced to be transparent about their impact.
So with all these pressures coming from the outside, how are companies actually responding? Let's take a look inside the new corporate playbook for this green economy.
You know, it's not really about having some little side project called corporate social responsibility anymore. That's old news. Now, sustainability is seen as absolutely essential. It's being woven right into the DNA of the company, shifting from just a PR move to a core part of their business strategy.
And you know what? The business case for this is crystal clear. When a company has strong sustainability initiatives, it creates this incredible positive feedback loop. First, it builds trust with you, the customer. That trust then attracts investors who want to back a solid company. And at the exact same time, it helps them win the war for talent. Because, let's be honest, the best people want to work for companies that actually reflect their own values.
But trying to manage all of this stuff, especially on a global scale, is incredibly complex. I mean, how do you even do it? Well, this is where our next big force comes in. Technology. You can think of it as the secret weapon, the powerful engine that's turning these ambitious green goals into actual reality.
And the tools they're using are pretty amazing. You've got AI that's optimizing supply chains to slash waste in ways we never could before. Then there's blockchain, which is creating these super transparent, unchangeable records, so you can actually verify if a product is truly ethically sourced. And get this, tiny little IoT sensors are monitoring energy and water use in real time, finding efficiencies that were completely invisible just a few years ago.
Okay, so we've talked about governments, we've talked about corporations, but the last few forces on our list are actually driven by you. Yeah, you. Your choices as a consumer are powerfully shaping this entire landscape, and they're creating 2 different but very connected types of pressure on every business out there.
I mean, the demand for eco-friendly and ethically sourced products is just surging. There's no question. But it actually goes deeper than that now. People don't just want a green product. They want to buy from brands that reflect their own values. So every dollar you spend is basically a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. And trust me, businesses are listening very, very closely to those votes.
But this creates a huge challenge for all of us. When every single brand is shouting about how green they are, how in the world do you separate the real change makers from the ones who are just faking it? This gets us to the problem of greenwashing, and it introduces our final force, the growing demand for truly ethical marketing.
So how can you actually spot the difference? It really comes down to one thing: proof. Authentic companies, they'll give you measurable results, real data, and they'll have independent certifications to back it up. They're transparent, even about their failures. Greenwashing, on the other hand, well, that's all about vague language, pretty pictures of nature, and feel-good claims with absolutely no real proof to back any of it up.
Whew. Okay, so we have covered a lot of ground here. Let's take a second and tie this all together. Really, when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one number: 6. 6 key forces, all interconnected, all pushing in the exact same direction. Together, they're creating this massive current that, frankly, no business can afford to ignore anymore.
And here they are, all working in tandem. You've got the circular economy, which is setting the new rules of the game. You've got corporate social responsibility becoming a core business strategy. Then there's government regulation that's forcing the change. Technological innovation is the engine that's making it all possible. Your consumer demand is steering the entire market. And finally, the need for ethical marketing to build real, lasting trust. It's this powerful feedback loop where every single piece affects all the others.
So when you see all of these massive forces pushing in the same direction, everything from giant government policies all the way down to what you put in your own shopping cart, it really makes you think, doesn't it? It raises this one big question. For businesses today, is sustainability still just a choice, or is it now the only choice they have left?